So now is it visible, this one? So have you done this problem which I gave yesterday? Have you tried out? Hello? Anybody tried out this one? Any of this problem? Hello? Rishabh, Rushali, have you tried out? Anybody? Kavya? Hello? Anybody tried out or not? Okay, so let us try to do it. So only one problem I will show you. Then later we will move to the next one. So now let us take this one. Okay, so we have the load impedance and the distance which is given d equal to 0.125 lambda, and the stub is open stub that is connected in series. Okay, so now let us take this problem and try to do it. So now we have the ZL value. So first let us normalize that, or ZL normalized value, so which is nothing but 50 plus j 100, so divided by 50, so this will be equal to 1 plus j2. So this is your ZL normalized value. So now first we are going to find out what is the reactance offered by this, the length of the open stub. Okay, so in this, so we can see the open circuited point is here, short circuited point is here. Now from this, so we can find out what is the distance from here. Okay, so now we have to move the distance of how much, which is the length which we need to find out. The length we have to move, which is 0.25 lambda. So you can see this is 0.25 lambda. So now from this open circuited point, okay, so we have to move 0.25 length. So if I move 0.25 exactly here, it will come. Okay, so now if I move exactly from here to here, so now you can see what is the reactance offered by this one. Okay, so the reactance offered by this one is 0. You can see exactly at this real axis it will come. So the reactance offered by this stub, okay, so or we can write it as the jx part, the reactance offered by this stub is 0. Okay, so now if we locate the normalized value of ZLN, that is 1 plus j2. So we have here 1 plus j2, so this is the point where we have the normalized value. Okay, so now take that radius and to draw the VSWR circle. Okay, so draw the VSWR circle. Now from this point, so we need to move distance of 0.125. Okay, from the load point we have to distance, so we have to move the distance towards generator. How much? 0.125. Now let us take that distance. Take this one. Okay, so now this is the location of the load. Now we can see the point, the value of this one, the lambda, the length in terms of lambda, that is L equal to 0.188, around it is coming. You can see, so you also try to do it, 0.188. So now how much distance we have to move? The d distance we have to move, so 0.125. Okay, so now we need to add 0.125 to it to get the location of this stub. So 0.125 we have to move towards the generator in order to get the stub value, that is the location of the stub. So if I add that one, so you will going to get 0.313. Okay, so this is the final point where we will get the location of the stub. So where it is 0.313, so you can see here, this is 0.3231, so this is 313. I will just mark it, that one. Okay, so this is the distance I am moving. So this much distance, the distance is the 0.125 lambda. So now this is actually the location of the stub where we have the point on the VSWR circle. We have moved distance of 0.125 lambda. So now this is the value of the location of the stub. So where we have the impedance value at this point. Now at this point the impedance value is this one. So now for this we have to add the reactance of the stub. So since reactance of stub is 0, so the input impedance is the same value. Okay, so the input impedance is the normalized value which is same here, because the reactance offered by the stub which is equal to 0. Okay, so this is the Z in normalized. So now we can read that. So the value is, so it is reactance is 2, again the resistance part is 1, that is Z in normalized, which is equal to 1 minus J2, because here it is the lower part, the impedance in the lower part, so the reactance will be negative. So now your Z in bar equal to 1 minus J2, and we can get the absolute value which is equal to 50 minus 100J. And this is true, because why? So exactly we are moving 0.125 lambda, and the reaction which is adding, which is 0. So exactly it is from reflecting the positive to negative. So that is what exactly it is reflecting, positive to negative. Okay, so is it understood? Any doubt in this? Hello? Have you got it? All of you? Any doubt? Hello? Rishabh, understood? Gagan? Dilip? Hello? Are you getting or not? Tanmay? So now we can see, so I just try to explain once more so that we can able to possibly get it. So now you can see, is it clear? So now this is your, this is your ZLN, the normalized value. So now you can see here, this is the value where you are going to get the reactance value 2. So now you can, if you have the chart, you can just look at it. 1, so this is the resistance part where we have the value 1. Okay, and this is the reactance circle, so where we have 2. So the intersection of this 1 plus J2, that is the normalized value. Okay, now taking this radius, you have to draw the VSWR circle. So now once you draw the VSWR circle, so now locate the value of the what is the value at the outermost circle. So in order to add the distance to that point. So now at this point we have 0.188. Okay, so now we have to add the length of the, that is distance of distance from the load, we have to add that much distance, that is 0.125. Okay, so once we add that, we will going to get this much, the final value. So now after adding, we will get this final value, locate that final value. So now you can see I am locating here. Okay, so now if I locate that one, so this is the point where we need to add the reactance of this term. Okay, so because after moving a distance, so this is what, after moving a distance, see here, so how much, 0.125 distance we have moved. So at that point we need to add the reactance of this stub. So now the reactance of this stub is 0. So where we have find out, so the reactance of this stub is 0 because we have located the length. Okay, so this is what the complete length from here, the open circuit point to the till 0.25. So this is what, till 0.25 lambda. So this is the length of the stub. Okay, so since we have the reactance 0, so the input impedance is the same point. So did you get it? Now is it fine?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now that is what we need to do in the finding out the input impedance. So now we try to do one more application. So where we have the finding out the input impedance using lumped elements. Okay, finding input impedance using lumped elements. So lumped elements in the sense, so you have the resistance and even the inductance and capacitance. Now we can make those combinations and we can put it in the problem and we can able to find out what is the impedance. So now let us take the first one, series lumped element. Okay, series, so combination. So series combination in the sense, so we'll put the impedance in the series. Let us take, you have the load value ZL. Okay, so now if I put the series something like ZS, which is having RS plus JXS, and we have here RL plus JXL. Okay, so now what is the input impedance after adding this? Okay, so that is what we need to find out in this one. In the similar way, if I add the shunt element, that is, so YP, so that is nothing but G plus J, so omega G plus JX. Okay, so that is the parallel element. So where we can have, so if I have the load element ZL, so which is nothing but 1 over YL. Okay, so now if I add the parallel element to that, so what is my input? So impedance, or you can able to find out what is the input admittance. Okay, so in this case we can also find out input admittance. Okay, so this is, so we will see how we can able to do in the Smith chart. Okay, so now we can see here, so just I will write the procedure how we can able to do that. The first case, okay, so where we have the ZL, so normalized, which is having R plus J, so RL plus JXL. Okay, so now let us take that point, so somewhere here. Okay, so that is ZL normalized value. Okay, now for this we need to add the series element, that is ZS. Okay, so normalized, which is nothing but RS plus JXS. Okay, so first either you can first add the reactance, later you can add the resistance, or you can add the resistance and later we can add the reactance, both the way possible. So now we can see, so this is a point where we have the resistance circle, say for example like this. So now I need to add the resistance to it or reactance to it. Now we have the reactance like this. Okay. So now if I add some reactance Jxs, so I need to move on the resistance circle and we can add so this much reactance, that is the Jxs I am adding, say for example. So now this is a point A where it is a normalized value and point B after adding the reactance. Okay. So now after adding the reactance, now move so this much resistance value so on the reactance circle, so we are adding this much the resistance Rs. So now this is what your the input impedance point, normalized one. Or we can do at this point, so we can add the Rs first, then we can add the reactance. So this is another method. So let us take B dash. First I am adding this much Rs, so then I am adding the reactance, so this much. So the same, so similar like the same point will occur. So either first you can add the reactance or the resistance. So now let us see in the chart how we can able to do this one. Now you can see here. So now let us take the value, so something like ZL, which is equal to some 100 plus J100. Okay. So now let us take in the problem, so where we have the ZL, which is equal to 100 plus J100. Okay. So the characteristic impedance which is given it as 50 ohm. If it is not given, assume it as 50 ohm. So now I am adding the reactance, that is Zs, something like 20 plus J, so 30. Okay. So now first we need to normalize both the values. So now ZL normalized, which is equal to 2 plus J2, and Zs normalized, which is equal to 0.4 plus J0.6. Now first locate the ZL normalized value. So then first you can add reactance or resistance, anything possible. So now you can see what is the value of the normalized value, that is 2 plus J2. Now you can see here, so where we have 2 and plus J2. So this point is your normalized ZL. Okay, ZL normalized or ZL bar. Both you can represent ZL bar or ZL normalized. Okay. So now from this, so first if I want to add the reactance, you can see here how much reactance I need to add, 0.6. So now add this one, move on the constant resistance circle. Now where we have the constant resistance circle, add 0.6. So we have here 2, so we need to add 0.6. So if I add that 0.6, you will get 2.2, 2.4 and 2.6. So now this is the point where you will going to get the after adding the reactance. So this much reactance I am added. So this is your point A and this is your point B. Okay. So now after adding the reactance, then we can have the resistance part, which is 0.4. So now on the same constant the reactance circle. Okay, so you need to add the 0.4. Now we have here 2. Okay, so now 2.2, 2.4. So now we have to add this much, only this one. So only 2 small circles you need to move. So that is what the input impedance point, that is Zin bar. So the Zin bar we can read it as, which is equal to 2.2, so 2.4 plus J 2.6. That is what we will going to get Zin input impedance normalized. So now if I get the value of the absolute value, so we have to multiply by 50. Okay, so if I multiply by 50, 24 into 5. So 120 plus J, so J 130. So this is what we will going to get the input impedance value. So here it is very important how much value you are moving. So since I have taken very small value of the series impedance, you will going to get that much. Okay. So now even we can have the parallel combination. So where we have the complete chart. So we need the Y chart here. Okay, so let us take the impedance value which is equal to 100 plus j50. So now we can able to find out what is YL. Okay, so YL it is nothing but the YL normalized value which is nothing but YL into Y0. So that Y0 is nothing but 1 over Z0, which is equal to 1 by 50, which is equal to 0.02. Okay, so that we need to multiply with the YL the value. So YL is nothing but 1 over 100 plus 1 over j50, this into 0.02. Okay, so now we can find out what is the YL normalized value, and this YP, so we can take it as something like whatever the value you can take, so like 0.02 or 0.2 plus 0.4 j. So directly the normalized value we can get, or we can directly put the absolute value, something like 20 plus j30, like that. Okay, so now first we have to locate the normalized value, so that should be in the admittance chart. So now if I just rotate this one, it will become an admittance chart. Okay, because it is 180-degree phase shift it is there. So now if I locate the Y normalized value, okay, so you can see, so what is this one? It will give 0.01 plus 0.02 j. Or we can get this also, divided by 50 will get 2 plus j 1. Okay, so that we can rotate, so that we can point, and we can get the 180-degree phase, that also possible. So this is YL by Y0. So if I do, so this one YL by Y0, so we are going to get the value, normalized value. So this YL bar, which is equal to 1 by 2, which is 0.5 plus j1. So that you have to locate in this chart, that is 0.5 plus j1. So now we can see, so exactly I need to take 180-degree phase shift. So where we have 0.5, okay, so plus j1. So there is plus j1, j1. So this is the value where we have 0.5 plus j1. This is your YL bar. Okay, so now for that I need to take this. Okay, so we can take 1 over 20 plus 1 over j30. So now if we can get the value of this one, we will get 0.5 okay, plus j0.6. So now what is YP, which is equal to parallel combination of this, that is YP. So if we get the normalized value, YP by Y0, so that will be equal to 0.5 plus j0.6 divided by 0.02. So we have to normalize this one first, then so we can do that. Okay, so this is what Okay, so let us take this one. uh, yeah, so this is correct only. Yp which is equal to 0.5 plus j point, so 1 by 30 it is 0.33, no? Okay, so now we can take the normalized value yp by y0, which is 0.5 plus j 0.33 divided by 0.02, so we can get okay, so how much you will get? So 5 by 2 50, 25 plus j 33 by 2. Okay, so that is 16.5 something it will come. Okay, so now first we need to add this one to this value, the load value. So we'll get the point where we have in the Smith chart. We'll see that point. Okay, so it is so much reactance we are adding here. So because it is much value, that is 25 plus j 16.5, I think we cannot able to see in this part. Okay, so this is, it will come in this part, that is 25 plus j something. So that we'll see particularly for this problem, so we can see what values can be able to visible. So that type of problem we can able to do it for the admittance, otherwise it will be difficult again. So definitely we'll get the point somewhere here, but it may not be visible properly here. So we have to add the susceptance value of the 25, the conductance value 25 and susceptance value 16.5. so that we need to add. So if I add this one 16.5 susceptance value, so it maybe comes around here. So in this, so it is going exactly into the, so the smaller region, so that we cannot able to find out here. So we'll take some other value and we'll try to do it. So this admittance, so first we need to get the normalized value, and then whatever the normalized value of the parallel admittance we are going to get, we need to add the corresponding conductance and the susceptance. So that is what we are going to get for the admittance application. So now if I have the single element, so let us take a single element if it is there. So how we can able to do it? So that is only the reactive elements. If I have only the reactive elements, how we can able to find out the input impedance? So in this case, that is, if I have the impedance ZL, okay, so if I have the maybe the inductor parallel, or even you can have the capacitor parallel, okay, and also if we have the series inductor along with this ZL and series capacitor. So in all these four cases, so just if I go on adding the elements, so what is my input impedance? Okay, so that is what the important here. So now whenever we add the parallel inductor, okay, so we have to get the reactance of this parallel inductor, that is JXP, the parallel inductor reactance. Okay, so what is this parallel inductor reactance, and how much the susceptance it is offering? So because it is in the parallel, so we can have JBP, which is susceptance. So if it is in the series, it will be reactance. Whenever it is in parallel, it is susceptance. That is JBP, which is equal to, so minus J omega L by Y naught. So this is the equation we have to find out for a particular L. So the value of the inductor L, if it is given, then we can able to find out what is the susceptance value by using this equation. Now similarly, if I have the capacitive susceptance, okay, so that is JBP, the parallel capacitive susceptance, which will be given by J omega C by Y naught. Okay, sorry, this is J by omega L Y naught. So this is J omega C by Y naught. So now this is the susceptance which is offered by inductor and capacitor. So for particular value of capacitance or inductance, we have to find out this susceptance values. Then we can able to add to this load impedance and we can able to get the input impedance. So similarly here, so we can find out the reactance offered by the series reactance offered by the inductor, which is nothing but J omega L by Z naught. Because since it is in series, we have to divide it by Z naught. Since it is in parallel, it should be divided by Y naught. And similarly, series capacitance Jx, which is nothing but minus J by, so that is omega C into Z naught. So this is what we are going to get for different configuration of L and C. Okay. So now let us take one example. So how we can able to find out the input impedance for the particular element. Let us take in the ZY chart itself and we can able to find out. Okay. So now if I have the load value ZL, something like 100 plus J100. Okay. So now I have the shunt inductance. Okay. So I need to find out what is the input impedance here. So I need to first find out for the particular value of L. Let us take 8 nanohenry. Okay. So at frequency F0, resonance frequency, which is 100 megahertz. Okay. So now let us take how we can able to find out the input impedance. Okay. So now first we need to find out what is the susceptance offered by the inductor, that is JBP. Okay, so which is nothing but minus J by omega, so not L, so R 2 pi F naught L, so into the even Y naught. We can directly do it here itself, or we can direct, or later we can do. So Z naught, you assume it as 50. Okay. So now if we find out this one, so what is the value? Minus J by 2 pi into 100 megahertz into 8 nanohenry into the value Y naught is 0.02. So now we can find out what is the susceptance which is offered by the inductor. Minus J, so into the value. So can you able to find out what is the value? Anybody can able to find out this value? Hello? What is the value? 2 pi into 100 mega into 8 nanohenry into 0.02. So find out this value. How much you will get? You can see. Anybody done? What is the value? Hello? Anybody done or not? Okay, so it may come around 100. Okay, not 100. Okay, so this value it may be around 100.53 into 10 power minus 3. Now if I take the inverse, or you can have it is 0.1, so it may around 0.1 you will going to get. So now let us take minus j 0.1, which is the susceptance offered by the inductor. Okay, so now how we can able to do this one? So here it is very important. Now we can observe here. So for which element how we can able to add the reactance? So let us take, this is the resistance circle, and this is the reactance, that is conductance circle. So now this is the resistance circle and this is a conductance circle. Okay, so now whenever we have the shunt inductor, okay, so if we have the shunt inductor, you have to move on the conductance circle upwards. Okay, so this is always for shunt L. Okay, so you have to move on the, so the conductor circle, you have to move the upper side in order to add the reactance of the shunt inductor. And similarly you have to add, if we have the shunt C, okay, if we have shunt C, you have to move on the conductance circle downwards always. So on the conductance circles upwards, so that is shunt L. And say for example, if this is the point where we have the normalized value of load, let us say. Now from this point you have to move upwards always on the conductance circle if the element which is connected is shunt L. And if you have to do the downwards movement for shunt C in order to add the reactance of this shunt C from the load point. Similarly, if we have the series L, so on the resistance circle you have to move upwards for series L. Okay, upwards series L on the resistance circle and downwards series C. So this is what you will going to from particular point, the load point. Okay, so based on the element which is connected, you have to move, or in order to add the reactance we have to move accordingly. So now we can see, so we have point J1. Okay, so we need to add the reactance of 0.1. Since it is a shunt inductor, we have to so since here minus j it will going to get cancelled, only the 0.1 will be having. Okay, so this is the susceptance offered, which is minus jb, because it is the shunt inductor. Okay, so now we have the value 0.1, so we need to add for the normalized load value. So now we can observe here, so the load value which is having, in our case it is 100 plus j100, which is 2 plus j2 if you normalize, and we will get this one here. So this is the value where we are going to get Z normalized value. So now we can see how much reactance we need to add. For the shunt L, we need to move on the conductance circle and add the that is susceptance 0.1. Okay, so in order to add that 0.1, so we need to find out. Okay, so we need to find out first the so where we have this one, the susceptance, but okay, so we have added here, we will get 0.1. Okay, so this 0.1 we need to add. So now see here, there is a conductance circle which is moved in the dotted one. Okay, so if you observe in the Smith chart, it will be in the dotted one. So now here, so the susceptance which is offered here, so which we have on this point, which we have that around 0.2 something. So let us take 0.25. So the susceptance value is 0.25. Now I need to add 0.1 to it. So total it will become 0.35 I need to move on the conductance circle till that 0.35 comes. So now you can see this is 0.3 and 0.35. So this much distance I am moving on the conductance circle. So somewhere here we will going to get the admittance value normalized, also the impedance normalized. So now at this point the normalized impedance is we can see here the normalized impedance, which is equal to 0.9 plus j 1.7. So that is what I'll get from this point. So you can observe that one. So this is a constant conductance circle we have to move since it is a Shantian. Okay. So this is what we are going to get the normalized input impedance if we add the inductor value, that is inductor susceptance value. Okay. So now similarly we can add different inductors or even different configurations. So now we can take this. So try to do this one. So add the capacitance of 2 picofarad at 1 gigahertz, okay, to the load value of 50 plus j50. Try to do this one, the capacitance value, add series and get the input impedance value. Try to do it. This is in try to get the value of this one, and also you can try out the inductor value. So that is L equal to, take 8 nanohenry itself. Now at 100 megahertz itself you can take, instead of shunt I am giving series. Try to do it. Okay. So ZL, which is equal to 50 plus j50. So now find out the input impedance. So for these two particular case, try to do it and we'll see whether you will get answer or not. If you don't get it, then I'll try to do it. Okay. Is it understood? Any doubt? Today's one. Hello. Okay, I'll upload today's this one video. You try to again look into the video, and then you can try to do it.